Hi guys, Victor from the Funding Warehouse, and here at the Funding Warehouse, we get a lot of questions as to how we structure our seconds. The technique we use is absolutely cutting edge, and in my opinion, deserves its own patent. So people think that second mortgages are riskier for lenders, and therefore they generally come with a higher interest rate than first mortgages. And this is because if the loan goes into default, the first mortgage gets paid off before the second mortgage. And I'm here to explain to you today that seconds are no more risky than owning a property. So, the traditional fear is this. If the owner does not pay, the second is, the second is second in line to get his money back. Furthermore, he or she must spend time and energy foreclosing the property. However, what if we made it very easy for the second lender to get the ownership of the deed if things turn sour? We put the following four clause on the property in case of default. Each of these clauses is more powerful than the next. So the first clause, clause 1, is the deed of trust. First of all, let me explain to you what the difference between a mortgage and a deed of trust is in terms of foreclosure. So the mortgage gives the mortgagee the right to sell the secured property through foreclosure if the mortgagor does not pay the debt. And deed of trust are different. They're structured in three parts. Number one is the trustor, which is the borrower. Number two is the beneficiary, which is the lender. And number three is the trustee, which is the independent third party that holds the title to this property. The main function of the trustee is usually to sell the property at a public auction if the trustor defaults on the payments. And so the difference you have in a deed of trust and a mortgage is, in a deed of trust, you can use this thing called a non-judicial foreclosure, which is much faster than the traditional foreclosure. It's typically used in states such as California that use deed of trusts. The lender can foreclose without going to court. So let me explain to you our second clause, which is the UCC. So we place a UCC, which stands for Uniform Commercial Code, on the borrower LLC membership interest. That way we can take over the LLC membership, which is the personal property. So Article 9, Part 6 of the UCC provides certain statutory remedies to all secured lenders. So if a borrower defaults on its loan agreement, basically Article 9 entitles a secured lender to pursue certain rights to the lender's collateral. So moving on to Clause 3, which is our LLC membership. First of all, recall that on one property, one can't be the borrower and the lender. This much is obvious. This is why we create a separate third entity. So one of our companies here at the Funding Warehouse will create another company on behalf of the lender and becomes a member of the borrower LLC that owns the property. So the operating agreement is amended to say that if the other member, which is these two, if the borrower defaults on the loan, this member, which is one of our companies, our member, takes over the whole LLC, and now the lender can indirectly get ownership or property without foreclosure. Remember, an LLC is nothing more than an agreement. We can legally structure the agreement any way we want, and in this case, we structured it in such a way so as to protect our second lenders. So Clause 4, which is our deed in lieu, this is the method we almost always use. The other three clauses are mainly alternative ways in case this one fails. This one is the most powerful, and so let's get straight to it. First of all, we're trying to get our lender the deed in hours instead of 100+ days of foreclosure. So keep in mind that our deals with our borrowers are recourse loans. So the borrower always has personal guarantee, which means lenders can go after all their other assets and can garnish any income the borrower makes. They can go after their car. That's my poor illustration of a car. They can go after their cat if they want to, which is evil, right? And this is very hard on the borrower. In case of default, we offer the borrower instead to cancel this personal guarantee In exchange, they give us their deed in lieu. So what is the deed in lieu? A deed in lieu of foreclosure is basically a deed instrument in which the mortgager, which is the borrower, gives the property or conveys all interest in a real property to the mortgagee, who is the lender, and that satisfies the loan. So this is a win-win situation. The borrower does not want to be foreclosed on because it'll ruin their credit score. Rather, they just hand over the deed. I mean, they're losing the property anyway, so what do they care? So especially since the borrower doesn't usually live on the property, this is a real win situation for both sides, and they always take this offer. So I hope you guys saw how we legally structured this to make this very safe for our second lenders. And thank you for watching this video.